Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve Podcast. But it's not just any episode. Today, we have good friend of the show, good personal friend of me, is that I can't speak. His name is Calamity Hatcher. I know him as Jack Hatcher. Welcome to the show. Your sixth appearance on the show. Welcome back.
It is. It's my first appearance as Hatcher now as well. We dropped the Calamity.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's new.
Yeah, it was kind of random, but I say we, like there's multiple people behind the decision. I decided that everyone knows me as Hatcher.
Yeah.
Like everyone in my life calls me Hatcher.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, why am I distinguishing between the two? Because this channel is just me in a nutshell. So let's straight branding. The only thing I didn't realize is after doing this, is there are a lot of other Hatchers on YouTube, and it makes me harder to find. So it wasn't the best idea in that regard, but I like it. I think it's just more consistent, consistently on brand. That's what the term I was looking for.
It's interesting. I believe either we spoke about. Well, I think we actually spoke about this the last time you were on this on the show, and you were talking about kind of rebranding and moving slightly away from the Sonic stuff. I mean, that's always going to be a big part of what you are about and what you enjoy and stuff. But you would sort of saying like you want to play a lot of different things online and demonstrate you can do other things and. You know, I think it's the logical move, really. You got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I will always love Sonic the Hedgehog. It's, you know, it's led this course of my 29-year life. You know, it's completely, without me even realizing it, led the foundations and led me the entire way through my life to creating a YouTube channel to now, you know, having my dream job. And it's crazy, but I mean, you know me on a personal level, there is a lot more stuff that I'm into. Like, you know, I'm as big a Marvel fan as I am a Sonic fan. I love Kingdom Hearts. I love Avatar. I love DC. Not necessarily DC movies, but I will be getting into that on the channel at some point. But like, there's lots of things like that I love that I don't really get to talk about. Like, for instance, what would you say my favorite TV show is?
Oh, God.
There's two that take the top place together.
Right now? That's out right now?
Yeah, it's out. It's been out for a while.
How long is
it? Both of them. We will say the past 20 years, both of them.
Supernatural?
No.
No. Firefly?
No. You won't get it at all because it's completely like left field.
Glee? I don't know.
No, it's not my cup of tea. I was a High School Musical kid, not a Glee kid.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking because at school, massive Jonas Brothers fan.
Oh yes,
you know,
still am, man.
Yeah,
they're smashing it still. Come on, it's nice to see them come back and be like, "Hey, we're not with Disney anymore," and here's like 2 number ones worldwide. I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool."
I say this much: their solo stuff is really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed their solo stuff.
Yeah,
but right, I'll give you the answer.
Go on.
So my 2 favorite TV shows of all time are How I Met Your Mother and The Office. And these are not things you would think of me necessarily from looking at my channel.
No, I can. Okay, fair enough. I was going to say, knowing you, I think How I Met Your Mother does make sense, but maybe that's a personal.
Shout out to my friend Ben Wolfrey, he's an old friend of ours who started this with me at our teenage years.
Oh, really?
Like, we were both obsessed with How I Met Your Mother. When we were teenagers, and it's just stuck with me ever since.
That explains a lot about Ben back at that age as well.
Yeah, we're both Ted Mosby's.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I actually kind of got into it later in life.
Okay.
And it's I love it. I think it's a fantastic show as well. It's like kind of one of the few remaining things that keeps my hopes up of eventually finding somebody. But you know,
do you know what? It's literally I always say to people, like, my life story is kind of like Ted's, not like event for event, beat for beat, but like same general. Like I just have a lot of Ted in me. But then I've come to realize as an adult, like as I've grown up in life, I'm an amalgamation of all 3 main characters. Like I have a lot of martial attributes. I'm not particularly tall or anything like that, but I have a lot of like martial attributes in like my emotional side and things like that. And I have a lot of Barney in sense of my humor. I'm not saying that I am player king of New York City. But like I have my Barneyisms. I have my humor that I'll insert into a situation that's like, oh my god, why would you? Jesus Christ, why would you say that? But also you're laughing at the same time. Like, yeah. So I have a lot of things like that, and I think that's why I love it so much. I think as I've grown up as a person, I've taken aspects from those characters that I've watched all these years on repeat and kind of amalgamate them into myself. So yeah, like I have, back to the original point I was making, I have a lot of other interests that I feel deserve some time. And don't get me wrong, this is a huge year for Sonic. We just had Sonic Origins, which I'm really enjoying. It's the collection of Sonic 1, Sonic CD, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3. And I really would recommend if, anyone out there hasn't played these games for the first time and wants to try them out, or you remember playing them back in the day and you think, oh, I'd like to play them on my modern consoles, give them a go. I'm not paid by Sega to say this. Just this is my opinion. And we have Sonic Frontiers this year, which is the open world or open zone 3D Sonic game. So there will be a lot to cover on the channel. But we've also got new Pokemon games this year. And I really want to get into those and things like that. So yeah, the diversification, it still hasn't quite happened yet. Like it's still the videos I put up are Sonic videos because I don't have as much time for content as I would like recently because work has just been so crazy. But I do have a big Sonic project coming out this year, which obviously I think we'll talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about it now if you want.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, last time I was here, I mentioned that I had a project I was working on, a big Sonic project. And I'm thrilled to say that you will be getting a teaser pretty much around the time this releases of exactly what that's going to be.
Here's my thought. I was going to drop this clip on the day of release and
attach the teaser to it.
Well, no, whatever works. I mean,
okay.
The actual show will come later because I have plans for this show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes to this specific thing, end of this month, isn't it? Sometime.
It should be, yes, end of this month. As many of you know, I've quite enjoyed delving into voice acting in my shorts and things like that. And I will be voicing every male character in a recreation of, well, not a recreation, how do I put this? I will be dubbing every cutscene from a certain Sonic game.
No way! Officially for Sega?
No, not for Sega. Not for Sega. This is just for my channel. This is the big project I've been working on. Awesome. Not for Sega. There are things I'm going to be doing with Sega. We will talk about that.
It's coming.
It is coming. But I will be voicing Sonic 06, the infamous Sonic 06, in its entirety. All of the male characters in there, all voiced by me. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, Shadow, Silver. I'm going to voice Omega because he's a robot, so that doesn't really need to be there. Microsoft Sound does that for them. So yeah, that's going to be coming. Teaser should roll after this, maybe, if you're seeing this clip. By the time you watch this video, the teaser should be out. So yeah, look forward to that. A lot of work has gone into this. This is the most ambitious project I've ever done, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you. So, head over to the Hatchet YouTube channel, subscribe, bell, be notified the second it goes up, because I'm really excited about this. And I'll confirm in this now, which you won't get in the teaser. I will be following the 4-story structure. So the first story we will be going through is Sonic's. So you will hear me voicing Sonic and all the male characters in there. The second we'll be going through is Silver. And then third, obviously, has to be my boy Shadow. I've deliberately saved that to the last one, so I guarantee this series gets finished. It's like, save your favorite one till last. So, you're more dedicated to record and edit that one than any other one in the series. And then, of course, we'll have the last story that happens in the game, the final story act. So, yeah, super excited to be announcing this. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. I'm just so excited, honestly, so excited about this. I've always wanted to do something like this, and this year let's make some different content. Let's go full out and do like, how long is it? I think it's like nearly 3 hours worth of content.
Damn.
So yeah, very excited for this one, and I hope you guys are too. So yeah, it's announced.
Well, I'm really happy for you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I can only imagine how that must feel. I mean,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true to be able to voice these characters, and whether you think I can do it well or not, that's up to you. But what you will know when you watch it, regardless of whether you think it's good or bad, is I had a hell of a good time recording it and putting it together. So there's a lot to put into it, and that's, as I said, it may not be particularly good. I'm certainly no Roger Craig Smith or Jason Griffith, but I'm having a hell of a lot of fun doing it. So
I'm calling it now.
Awesome.
I think there's a very, very high probability that you will end up in some shape or form or capacity working with Sega on a similar kind of project in the future. I can see it.
It is a dream of mine.
But the thing is, it's storytelling, because who better to voice these characters and be involved in this kind of stuff than someone who's a big fan, who's actually passionate about it. I mean, from a marketing business perspective, it kind of just, it's a great story to tell, it's
exactly. So yeah, that is a dream. And it's something I've actually said to people recently, is like, one day I will voice Sonic the Hedgehog in some official capacity. And it's like, before I would just laugh that off, but considering everything that's happened with me working at Sega and everything, like the impossible becoming possible, just anything is in reach now. Like, nothing's going to stop me.
Obviously, we spoke off air, which will remain off air conversation. But what I will say on that is that, for someone like myself looking at you and watching your kind of career trajectory, it makes me at least keep believing that things are possible. Because I'm very much in the same. I'm nowhere near where you are. I'm just desperately throwing stuff out there, hoping something will stick. It's not, but hey, it is what it is.
It will, man. It will.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. But what I will say is, it's inspiring to watch people such as yourself, and it's really cool to see, because it's like, Jack is a guy that really deserves this, and it's really, really nice to see that in life. Yeah, it's just, I think that you want to see everyone succeed in life, but there are particular people that you really want to see succeed, because like what they've been through in life and challenges and obstacles they face and stuff, and also just like the passion that you have for this. Like, you really love doing it. It's not like, if you were doing it, it wouldn't be a job to you. It would be like even your current role that you're doing right now is like, there's all these really cool things I've seen, like the fact that you take a photo every single day of this giant, massive, life-size Sonic model that's in your office.
Yeah,
it's really sweet. It's basically Jack's taking a photo every single day with Sonic to one day show his future kids. I just thought that's beautiful.
That was inspired by Ted Mosby as well. Like that right there. That was like, it's like how I met the icon, the hero. But yeah, I love doing that. And I've thought about, I'm probably going to make like an Insta or a Twitter or a Facebook page for that pure purpose of posting those, because I think Sonic fans might find that entertaining. Who knows? Like, a lot of people have like really spoke to me about how kind of wholesome it is.
It is.
And there was a time when I wasn't going to do it anymore as well. Like, we got to 50, and I'd been hearing like a few things that people have been saying about me in regards to Sonic that weren't very positive and all that kind of thing. And I was kind of at a point where I was like, we got to 50. It's cool. I don't need to keep spamming all of my Facebook friends with this same selfie every day with a slight variation, normally in what I'm wearing, and that's about it. But people just kind of flooded in on that and said, no, keep posting it. So I keep posting it, and we're very close to 100. We're going to hit 100 fairly soon, within the next month, or well, probably 2 months. We're going to hit the 100 mark. So yeah, I'm going to start sharing that out, making that like maybe a Facebook page or an Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, man, go for it.
But that's, the great thing that I can say about Sega as a company is it's not one of those stay in your lane companies. Like I am IT help desk. My primary job is to help with all IT solutions in the office. And it's something I love doing. I've loved working in IT for nearly the past 5 years now. Previously I was working in the VFX industry largely. I was actually building some PCs for Sega through my old company and things like that. It's something I love doing, but then at the same time, I'm having weekly meetings with people, giving them Sonic community updates on what I'm seeing out there from the community. I have been quoted by the head of Sonic team, and I know I was quoted because I used the words snarky and cynical, which are not native Japanese words. Let's be completely honest there. They are quite Americanized, maybe even more British kind of words. And then, I pass on those notes, and then 3 months later, the head of Sonic team is saying snarky and cynical when referring to Sonic. And I'm like, I just got quoted. 100% sure I just got quoted. And it's great. Like, Sega provided me a review code for Sonic Origins.
Wow.
Because they wanted me to put a review out, and I really, can't thank them enough. And I know I will be getting a review code for Sonic Frontiers this year, so I'll be able to get my review out, for the embargo, like all the big boy YouTubers, and they at no point. I'm going to TwitchCon next week on Tuesday. Well, by the time this comes out, I will have been at TwitchCon, but I'm flying out on Tuesday to Amsterdam. And I'm there till the following Monday because Sega want me there. I'm doing the IT support there, setting the booth up, all the PCs for the streamers and the just normal gamers to come and play. But after that, I'm probably going to do a little stream on the Sega computers, and that will be then recast on Sega's official Twitch account. So that'll be awesome. And then I'm going to get to walk around and talk to Sonic fans. Well, Sonic's not even going to be there. We're not even showcasing any Sonic games in this. We've got a fantastic set of games that we will be showing there that you can play. But I'll just be talking to people about them and Sonic and just walking around and being like, hey guys, what are you loving about these games and whatnot? And what's fantastic as well? I'm going to give her a shout out. Ella Sprout, whose name I can't actually tell you because she wants to go by Elle Sprout. Do you know who that is?
No.
Someone we went to school with? If I chatted to you right now, is that going to come up in the recording?
I don't know. No.
That's right. Because I don't want to say her name out loud and just...
I've never tried this before.
And give her in,
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
She's a fantastic streamer. I've been following her.
Wow, really?
Her streaming career. Yeah, I've been watching her over the course of lockdown up till now, grow her channel, and we got back in contact through, I think it was Instagram.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I've tried to support her through it, and she supported me through it. It's been really cool. And I've seen her
send me her details. I'll follow her.
Yeah, I will do. But I haven't seen her since secondary school.
Same.
She's going to be at TwitchCon, so I'm going to finally get my reunion with her.
She's got a photo of me. She's got a photo of me from school that I'm desperate to get, and I asked her for it a while back, but I don't know. I think she forgot. It's a picture of when we went. This is so random, but I don't.
No, go. We love this.
No, I'll just say for the people listening and watching, they'll be like, "What's he talking about?" So this
life stories.
High school. So do you remember Year 8 camp?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, so Year 8 camp. basically at our school, you went to camping in the woods for like 3 or 4 days. And
nice camping in the woods.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. It was fun.
Because year 7 was France, wasn't it? It was south of France.
No, I think all the rich kids went there. I didn't do that. I was
Nah.
All the rich kids. All the rich kids went to like South of France and skiing and did music lessons.
I never went skiing.
I never did any of that. I was too poor. So they'd be like, "Oh, did you go skiing?" I'm like, "What?"
I remember I wanted to do it one year, and I looked at it and it was like, "This is going to cost you about $2,000."
Yeah. I remember. Bless my mum. I remember, and I knew that we wouldn't be able to afford it, but I just asked anyway. And I'd asked her for everything. I said, "Oh, can I get music lessons?" "Oh, sorry, Chris, can't afford it." "Can I get this?" "Sorry, we can't do it." And like, believe me, like if my mum could have sent me there, she would have. Like, she's amazing. But yeah, I asked about skiing, which I think is a bit dumb for me at the time to ask that. But I don't know. I guess I was kind of hoping maybe it was possible.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Well, I think I told her how much it was, and I seem to recall she was just like, "No, there's no way." But really, but she was really sweet about it. Like, you know,
yeah. It was a difficult one to be able to swing that. But sorry, year 8 camp.
Year 8 camp, yeah. So she's got a photo of me with, like, at the time I don't even know what to call it. I've always had long hair, but it was like longish, medium cut.
I know, like the emo hair.
I always.
It was kind of hair. Well, yeah.
When did I not have emo hair? You know what I mean?
We were born that way. we came out of the womb with black nail polish on and everything. Like we were
I never wore nail polish, but I did wear eyeliner and mascara at one point because I was trying to impress a girl who was obsessed with Gerard Way. I won't say who she is, but you know who I'm on about. And,
I think I'm pretty sure I know who.
Yeah, I was dating her at the time, and she just went on and on and on about it. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna essentially cosplay as Gerard Way, and that led to the eyeliner. And you know, convincingly, at one point I did actually look quite a lot like him. I think I
seem to remember that. I seem to remember that actually. See, I was in a weird spot where my mum was like, "You get this haircut.
Oh no,
you are ginger. Deal with it."
What your mum said,
and it was that's basically how it was. And then it was like,
I
because I wanted to dye it. Because I wanted to go.
You did dye. You did dye at one point.
Yeah, but that was later in school. That wasn't until about 15, 16.
You dyed it black, didn't you?
No, I dyed it very dark brown. Because I wanted to look like Drake Bell from Drake and Josh. And I already kind of had the haircut. So I just dyed it dark brown. And it was I was a bit pale for that. I've got to be honest. I was very pale.
I'm sure you've had it black, maybe red. No?
Nah, I've never had black. At uni, I did like brown with very blonde on top and then pink on top of that. That was my favourite hair, to be fair. That was awesome. I looked straight out of the MySpace senior, but I loved it.
Those were the days. Days. Do you know,
sorry, again, you're at camp and you've got this wonderful picture.
So I find this stuff. I find this more interesting than that story. All I was going to say is that I had like blonde highlights at the time, and people used to call me Bumblebee at school, which was, you know, hilarious. And there's a picture of me apparently like sitting, and she's got it, and I just thought that's amazing. I'd love to get my hands on that.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, because one thing is that I don't have as many photos as I'd like of when I was younger. I guess I just didn't think to save. Or no, I seem to recall that I lost a USB drive or I lost files on the USB, and I lost a lot of stuff, and I was really gutted about that. Which is one of the reasons why now I take photos all the time, wherever I get a chance. Whenever someone takes a photo of me and us together, I'm like, give me that, save it. And it's just amazing. It's like, for instance, I've got a lot of photos of my time when I lived in Estonia, and I recently went through them because this is really sad and pathetic, but just a little bit of a thing about me. So I like to have like a changing screensaver on my computers, and I've got two monitors, so they show different things. So I have a mixture of like things that I screenshot, like things, I don't know, Marvel, Star Wars, pictures that I find pretty and nice, and then there's a lot of like images of places I've been to and stuff like that. So like sometimes I'll get random pictures of like a road or somewhere in the wilderness in Estonia come up and stuff. And it first of all, it blows my mind that even happened. It feels like so long ago now, like a different lifetime.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'm very like nostalgic and sappy and like thoughtful about the past and stuff. And so now I cling on to that, you know, like really a lot, and take as many photos as possible. Just memory.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, recently I just keep looking through my LA photos like constantly, because I swear to God, man, like if you're a YouTuber and you go to LA, you're just like, no, this is where I need to be. Like, what am I doing? Why am I going back to London? Like, I've got MGK playing in my headphones, going down highways. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is the life I was meant to have.
I'm literally, I feel the same as you right now, in the sense that like I'm at a point in my life where like I've been in Manchester now for about 2.5 years, nearly 3 years, and my life follows this pattern where ever since, I turned 21, every 3 years my life changes in a big way. Okay. So when I 21, went to uni. Okay.
Yeah.
24, finished uni. Right.
Yeah.
And then went to Estonia for 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Came back. Obviously, the end of that 3 years would have been 2020. Now, next year, 2023, that'll be 3 years in Manchester, and I'll also be turning 30 that year. So I'm
okay.
Oh my God, I'm old. Sorry.
I feel that, man.
Yeah. It doesn't feel it, does it? But yeah. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't.
But
anyway,
it does feel it, Chelsea.
I feel like that kind of like I'm ready to kind of go anywhere and do anything. You know, I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. I don't have any responsibilities. The only responsibilities I have are just make sure that the rent is paid and I'm somehow able to live. But other than that, there's a lot of opportunities. So I'm trying to take as many opportunities as possible and risks and etc. But I genuinely don't know where to go. Like I think if someone said to me tomorrow, like, do you want to move to LA? I'd be like, why not? Let's just try. I mean, what do I really have to lose at this point? Like,
no, I'm with you on that. Like, that's the beautiful thing about this kind of lifestyle that we're doing as well. Like this content creation lifestyle in particular, it can go anywhere. Like it could lead to any point. And like, obviously, like he's got the most subscribers of any individual person on YouTube as opposed to a corporation. But like, look at PewDiePie, like Swedish born, lived in Brighton for a very good period of his life. And now he's moved to Tokyo with his wife.
I didn't realize he moved to Tokyo. Wow.
Yeah, he's moved. Well, actually, I don't know if it was necessarily Tokyo. I know it was Japan, but I think it might be somewhere just outside of Tokyo.
Cool.
But he's moved there with his wife, and it's crazy where this life can lead you. I say this life like we're living the same thing. Like we've got all our G Fuel sponsorships and our own flavors and all that.
I really envy you, but like in the best possible way. I always use that word as well, because when you say, envy is the good one, isn't it? Jealousy is the bad one, but envy is the good one, because it's like, you know, it's like
envy's the bad one.
No, jealousy is the bad one, because jealousy means
because envy is one of the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? Whereas jealousy isn't.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like an idiot now. I always thought that envy was.
I'm not sure. I'm questioning this myself.
Well, in my head, I always thought that envy was more like you appreciate and you're slightly jealous, but not like in a hateful. Because I think like generally you don't want to be jealous of other people, because everyone has a different life. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's different circumstances to where someone's got where they are today. Like I look at your life, and you know, I know you on a personal level, and I know, obviously, I don't know everything about what you've been through, say, in the last 10 years, because we just haven't really spoken much in that time.
Yeah.
You know, we reconnected later in life, and that's fine. That's just life, you know. There's, I don't think there's barely anyone I really kept up with from school, and it's nothing against them. It's just you move on, you know, whatever, right? But when we did reconnect, and you know, I think back to when, you know, we were at school together, and I saw some of the hardships you went through then, and then, you know, I see like how well you're doing now. Like it's the main thing that comes to my head is I'm just happy for you, and it's just nice to see. And of course, like it's very, for me, it's difficult not to be to wish that I was in a similar spot to people such as yourself and other people that I know that are doing well. But at the same time, I am very happy for those people. Like, I think the worst thing you can be is like angry and like, oh, like it's not fair, whatever. Because I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all I know, and also more to the point, like, if you look at it like really specifically, like, I don't want like your life, and that's not because there's anything wrong with your life. It's just that there's different goals, there's different things,
of course,
that you're looking for, and so sometimes I don't know, like a lot of what I hear people say when it comes to things like success and getting there is they always say that it's first of all it's a marathon, not a race, right?
Yeah.
And that different things have to move and shift in your life before you can get to where you want to be. And I think mentally I'm ready for that change if it ever does happen. But I'm also in the headspace now, which sounds kind of sad, but I am trying to just be realistic about things. I'm also thinking about, if it just never happens for me, and what that might look like and how that might, no, but like, I don't mean, I don't, I'm not,
I get what you mean.
I'm not trying to say this in like a I want sympathy way or woe is me. I'm just trying to say that, like, first of all, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I know I talk about it a lot, so anyone that listens will be like, oh, this again, right? But think about it like this. For me right now, I'm going through, I suppose, like, I'm thinking about this and I'm learning to come to terms with it and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay. Maybe it's not the end of the world. And I think a big thing that's in my head right now is I want to come to terms with it so that I can have the right attitude. The last thing I want is to have this bad attitude towards that and life, because I don't want to upset, like, my followers, people who listen to me, people who support me in my own life. I don't want to become like a bitter person or anything, because life, there's so many amazing things about life, and there's so much to be appreciated and savored in life. And these things that we're aspiring to are just one aspect of it. And, I think that, like for instance, my goals mainly are just to be able to do like this sort of stuff for a living. And I've seen other people do it, and that inspires me to keep going. And I would love to be able to do it. But one thing I hear a lot of people say is, oh, one day it will happen for you. One day it will happen for you. And I just don't know if that's the way it works. If that's like, if everybody gets what they want in life, you know what I mean? Like, and this is all pretty new for me as well. Like, I only really started understanding what I wanted like in 3-4 years ago. Before that, I had no idea. And for anyone listening who's either about to hit their 20s or good thing to remember is that it's okay if you haven't figured out what you want to do in life. Sometimes it takes many years before that happens, and I think it's good to try a lot of different things to see what you're good at, see what you like, see what you don't like, and you kind of figure it out from there.
I mean, I didn't really get on this road that I was on in terms of working in IT and working at my dream company until I was about 26, 25, 26, 29 now. It's not all going to come to you at once. It's sometimes things just do fall into place. I ended up at the company, my previous company. I ended up there in a role that didn't particularly do anything for me. It was like admin payroll work.
Oh, okay.
And I said that, well, I got very friendly with the computer engineering department, and a friend of mine at work was promoted to manager of computer engineering department. And I'd spoken to him before many times down the pub, like, I'd really love to get into what you do. And I just said to him, I want to be a computer engineer, and it was done. And I got into that. I finished, we broke up for Christmas, and then I started in January in IT. So it doesn't just, you don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes things will just happen. But also, one thing that you did say that I think is a valid point, that because I like to drop some truth bombs whenever I come on here. I feel like I do that. I drop some like stuff that you don't really want to hear.
Bombs away!
But bombs away. Here we go. If you are starting out on any platform, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, you are not entitled to followers. You are not entitled to views. Do not do these things expecting to be handed something. In terms of, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant in saying this, because like I'm still trying to hit 2,000 subs. I haven't quite hit it yet. Like, the work I've had to do to get there has been insane. And then you get other people who, it's like lightning in a bottle. You know, they upload a piece of content that just really works, and suddenly their views, their subscribers, all of that, it blows through the roof. That is a 0.01% chance of that happening. Everyone else on the platform is going to have to grind. And you know what? It may not work out, because you still need an element of that lightning in a bottle content to really go bang, to get into that algorithm. Like, I've had a video recently that's got 75,000 views, which might not sound a lot, but to me, that's huge. It's the most views I've ever gotten in a video. And that was because the YouTube algorithm picked it up. It was a video essay that I released like over a year ago for Nando v Movies One Villainous Scene series, where you had to talk about like your favorite scene involving a villain from like a comic book or whatever, or a TV show or a movie. And I picked Jim Carrey's Eggman versus Sonic at the end of the Sonic movie, because I wanted to make a case for how it really showed like the delusions of grandeur, and like how over bloated Eggman's ego is, and how it really made Jim Carrey that character. And it did fairly well when it came out. It got to like 4,000 views, which is good for me. And then Sonic Movie 2 comes out, and suddenly YouTube's like, okay, yeah, this needs to go into the algorithm now. This is going to get pushed. I did nothing in the 6 months between that video coming out and it blowing up to make it do that. It was just lightning in a bottle. YouTube decided the algorithm was worth showing it to people. It's luck. It is just luck. Even if you try and figure out every intense detail of the algorithm will change next week. It always does. So don't get yourself disheartened, people, when you try and put stuff out there and it doesn't get to any views or whatever, because I'm telling you now, that's what happened when PewDiePie started. He uploaded videos that got like no views. They'll all have views now because, you know, the subscriber count he has, you know, people want to go back and see the first video PewDiePie ever made. He's probably got millions on all his videos. But there was a time when PewDiePie, when Markiplier, when Game Theory, all these people uploaded videos, no views.
Yeah, I mean, I think a good thing to keep in mind as well is like, if you are just starting out and you're not seeing much attention, but you are seeing a little bit, cling on to that, because and I've said this before, and I always say this to my current followers and listeners. I appreciate them so much because they are a driving force, and I'm very for me to keep going, and also they inspire me. They're all amazing people with amazing lives themselves, and I just wanted to touch on what you were saying before about, you know, like not having expectations, like in the sense that, you know, you feel you like, I have to have like followers, like I deserve this, like even if you get like a handful of people and they care enough to spend their time in your live stream or liking a video of yours or taking the time to like comment on something, like you got to appreciate that and be thankful for that, and realize that like that is worth more than anything else, and that you are actively achieving your goal of reaching people. You're doing something.
Yeah, appreciate what you have before you start trying to reach out and get more. Like, it's very important.
It's just, you know, it's like I said before, like I've said that I would love to reach more people, and, you know, sometimes I get a bit sad about the fact that I can't do that sometimes, but at the same time, like the thing that always brings me back to reality is realizing that there are people that care and do listen and follow, and it's like that's the thing you need to remember. And also, I think it's important because that's what keeps you grounded and keeps your head in the game, and you know where it should be. But also, it keeps you in this mindset of realizing that if you're chasing views and chasing that's all you're trying to do, then inevitably your content is going to probably lessen.
Yeah,
you know,
it's going to suffer.
Well, it's just that, you know, you won't be necessarily doing what you love anymore. You're just doing whatever it takes to get views, you know, and
yeah,
like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't try different things in order to get views, because of course I do. But at the same time, like, I don't do that as my only focal point, you know. Like, if you see what I'm doing on TikTok, I had an idea about 6 months or a year ago to basically create a backup account, which I think all people should do just in general. It's good to have backup accounts on that app. But I basically transitioned it into a thing where it's like the account where I just mess up and mess around and basically use TikTok for its intended purpose.
Yeah.
And it has a lot more reach compared to my main channel, which does have more followers and stuff, but I just produce, you know, my main account is kind of more like a base for showing what I can do. Like, hey, I do a podcast, I write music, I'm an aspiring actor, you can see all this stuff, right? But the second account is, let's just jump on trends, see if we can reach people, whatever, have fun. And since I took that approach, it's been more successful, but it's also been a lot more fun, which I think is kind of more important, you know. And the more fun you're having, and I think the better your attitude is, the better your content will be.
Yes, I completely agree. You have to put your heart into it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. Like, for me, with the Calamity Quickies that I was doing for quite a while, I was living off YouTube drama at the time when I was making those. Like, I was loving the commentary channels. They were all in my algorithm. You know, I my notifications on for Keemstar. I was ready to go. And Omni, I absolutely love Omni. I still think Omni is fantastic. And like, but the thing is, I can't get through a whole Omni video now because the YouTube news, the drama, is just become this thing where it's like, I don't really want to hear about all of it anymore. Like, I used to find it somewhat entertaining, and now I'm just like, oh, I just don't care. And so the Calamity Quickies have stopped because it was either getting to a point where it was like I was covering some really deep stuff going on that was like really unsettling to watch. It was unsettling for me to record when I was like talking about it, like some of the stuff with the Smash community and stuff like that. And it just got to a point where it's like, I'm not enjoying putting this content out anymore. I'm sitting there like, okay, let's talk about some really nasty stuff that's going on, and just feel grossed out by talking about some of this horrible stuff that people were doing. And it's just, wasn't enjoying it. So I haven't really done them for a while. I was trying to turn them more into kind of like a nerd culture news segment with bits of drama thrown in. So like, I was covering like No Way Home stuff before No Way Home was coming out, and like I was giving updates on that and like various different Marvel projects and, you know, things coming out. But it just got to a point where I was like, I'm having to really convince myself to sit down and record these, and that shouldn't be the case. I should just want to go and sit down and record them. So I haven't really done them, but they'll come back in the future. Who knows? You know, it is always a possibility. But you know, if you're not putting your heart and soul into that content, if you're not enjoying the content that you're making, your audience can tell. And there's no point putting out that kind of content because people won't respond to it. Why are people going to respond to something that's, you know, a bit more lifeless, we'll say, because it's just not the heart in it.
There's another thing that actually reminded me, like, one thing I've said to my audience is that I'll always be authentic and real with them. And, you know, if I feel down, I'm going to voice that. But I try to avoid kind of doing that all the time. And it's difficult, you know, sometimes I just don't, get it right. You know, I'm human at the end of the day. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better. But I've consciously tried to avoid it as much as possible with live streams, and more specifically with videos. I've noticed that I used to post a lot of kind of like more cynical stuff, or jumping on trends, but it was all just kind of really depressing. Like, and don't get me wrong, I still will post those videos every once in a while because just fun relatability. But I'm trying to kind of consciously make the content overall more positive and having fun with it.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is I want to make my audience smile and feel happy and take their minds off stuff. And, you know, I've said this before in the show and I'll say it again, like when you get people reach out to you and they tell you, hey, this content got me through a dark time, or, you know, it made me smile, or, you know, I was having a bad day and you've cheered me up. Like, that means everything to me. That's amazing to hear. And I started to realize about myself that I think I'm the sort of type of person that I'm able to make other people smile and laugh just because I'm a bit weird. You know, like
me both.
You know, well, you know, it's like how when you start being more true to yourself and you stop trying to be something you're not, and you just focus on being you, life becomes a lot easier, or at least it feels right, you know?
Yeah.
I think for so long, I was like so obsessed with trying to appear, you know, serious and sensible and respected in particular. And now I'm just like, you know what, it doesn't matter if people don't respect me or think of me this way. The main thing is, am I happy? Am I happy with how I am, who I am, etc.? Am I being true to myself? And I feel like now, for the first time, I'm beginning to like really get to that. But the interesting thing is the lessons keep coming, you know, every day. You know, I think I've okay, this is where I need to be, and then something will pull me right back, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's much more. Like I literally in the last couple of days I had a moment where I was like, wow, guess I've got more growing up to do, you know. And I'm just it's intriguing the way life works like that.
You know? I completely get what you mean as well, because like I used to really lean in on the cynical content. I used to criticize the Sonic series a lot. Like that was a large bulk of my videos, was criticizing what was going on. And because we were in a bit of a drought, you know, we weren't getting any information about games or projects in a gap from like 2017 till last year. It was very, very quiet. So my channel was kind of getting built off that. And recently, past year or so, I've tried to be a lot more positive. I don't really want to talk about Sonic negatively because I think it's spoiling the conversation. I think it's had an impact on the fan base where the fans just are never happy because they become so content with moaning, because it's like we just sit in our echo chambers and we moan at each other all day. And also, like, I'm pretty honest on my channel. I'm pretty honest about my thoughts and feelings on things. But of course, like, I can't go and just like slag off Sonic stuff. Like, you have to understand that I can't. That would put my job in jeopardy.
Oh, right, yeah, you actually can't.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can say if I have criticisms with a game, like I've said about some of the bugs and glitches that I found in Sonic Origins that weren't present in the original games, I'm a bit like, I found some. I mentioned it in my review. I had one that was game breaking. Hopefully these will get patched out in the future. I can be constructive like that. Like, they're not holding a gun to my head and saying you have to say nice things. But you also have to understand there is a level of being a professional and not going out and slagging off your company. And I'll be honest, I don't feel I really have much need to slag off the company at all. Just full transparency. But if I did, I couldn't exactly do that because I have to be professional. I have to have some integrity. So I'm trying to be more positive with the content. But
I completely
people don't respond to it in the same way. That's the problem.
I completely get what you mean. I've been doing the same thing as well. And I'm still learning. I'm still very much kind of trying to understand it fully. But this thing about having a consistent reputation across what you do, you know, it's one thing to mess around on this like account that I have, right? But I'm very conscious of what I put out there and what kind of message that conveys. And I'm still learning through some of the comments I read. Sometimes I'll delete things afterwards and I'm like, okay, back to the drawing board. Need to think about this more, think about how this portrays me. Because as much as I'm very kind of transparent with who I am, like, and how I am conscious of how people view that content and how they see it and what that says about me and what the chances of maybe getting somewhere, like, for example, being able to secure sponsors for a podcast or being able to get brand deals or stuff like that. I mean, I'm still kind of like, oh, this probably will never happen. But if it did happen, if the opportunity was there, you know, I wouldn't want to lose it as a result of, you know, the content I was producing. So I think that's part of it. But as you say, a big part of it as well is it just gets you down, doesn't it? When you're negative about stuff, or you post a bunch of content that's like that, it is kind of depressing, and I think it gets to you as well.
Yeah, 100%. It affects your mentality and how you perceive things, everyday things in the real world, you know. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a saint, like I've got it all figured out, because I really don't.
Who does?
Like, I still have a lot of things in the way that I look at things in the world that I want to work on. Like I'm awful with people in public. All humans in public annoy me. Like, I'm one of those people, do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I leave my house, any human or being on the street, I'm like, why are you doing that?
Do you know,
where's the common sense in that? And things like that in my head, and I'm trying to work on.
I think
except my friends, I love you.
I think there's something to this, because I get this sometimes. I think a big part of it is just your mood on that given day, because I think sometimes it's nice to see people, but I think
agreed,
because we're a bit more introverted and we like to kind of have things a certain way. Like,
you're spot on.
I'm willing to bet that you do the same thing that I do. So let's say you walk into, like, I don't know, comic book shop, right?
Yep.
And this sounds so stupid, but it's true. See, if I'm in a room, right, with people, I'll come back to the example right now, but I always say that I'm an extroverted introvert, or I don't know what they call it, ambivert, don't they? If me and you would both walk into a room and there's a bunch of people, we're not going to feel comfortable, but we can present that we're comfortable and be that.
Yes.
You know, we'll probably have an anxiety crash later, but in the moment, right, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, nice to meet you, right? Because you just understand that you just have to do that to get through that specific. You can't be like, nervous. And believe me, it's a battle, because sometimes I still feel, you know, like, if there's an opportunity to be in the shadows, I will be there and disappear.
Oh, 100%.
Right. So that's what I present. But sometimes I am genuinely, like, comfortable, as you say. Like, if you're with friends, that's a bit different, and then that's, you know, but even that could be daunting if there's enough people there. But when it becomes like you're in public and you're just checking out something in, like, a shop, but, like, let's say there's, like, a few too many people by the area that you want to go to, like, I'll genuinely just kind of wait and be somewhere else in the store until they leave. And if they never leave, I just won't go to that area, and I'll just basically, like, miss out, because I'm
so what I'll do is
anxious.
I will pretend. So I'll give you a better example, right? You're in the supermarket. And let's say you're down the rice and pasta aisle, right? Okay, and they're next to each other, right? And you want to look at rice. There's a family looking at rice. Okay, so I'll stand by the pasta and I'll peruse the pasta. Like, okay, it says tagliatelle, very nice. And waiting for them to move.
Yeah.
The whole time in my head, I'm like, yo, we're not all here for a day out. Can you just, like, get your rice and move on so I can get in, please? And after, like, a minute, I'm like, okay, no, I've had enough. I'm like, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, no, I've not got all day. And just take it. I walk on. I won't say I've not got all day. I'll always say that in my head. But I'll just like, sorry, excuse me. And I'll just go and I'll be like, waste of time. I've got things to do today. Do you know what I mean? This is like my inner monologue. And I'll move on. It's just like,
just going back to that example, right? Do you have difficulty in, right? So you're looking at the pasta, right? You don't care about the pasta because you want the rice. But in your head, and you're acting now. You're basically acting. So you have to feign showing interest in looking at the thing you're looking at.
Oh yeah, pick one up, turn it around, look at the fat content.
It's so difficult.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's the same as like when you see in movies and they say like, act natural, guys, act natural. It's like it's so difficult to pretend to fake in that scenario. Like I'm so
and then you pull your phone out like, oh, I must have had a notification. There's nothing on there. You're just scrolling through Facebook. Oh, how interesting. Okay, yeah, put the phone back in. Now let's pretend to look at the pasta again. It's a performance. It's a performance. But I find that the world just moves too slow for me. And I know that's ridiculous coming from me of all people as well. Like, gotta go fast. But the world generally moves too slow for me. People in day-to-day life don't walk fast enough. They don't want to get what they want to do. Get my words right. They don't do what they've left to do the house. Oh my God, I cannot get my words right.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
They don't do what they left the house to do fast enough. It's like, seriously, popping down to get some milk is not a family day out. I'm just here to get some milk. You know what I mean? So like I'm so cynical in my own brain, and I'm really trying to work on it.
Dude,
because how I'm facing, I will always be polite and friendly to people,
sure,
even in those scenarios. Like, just because my inner monologue is saying "hurry the fuck up" doesn't mean that I'm not gonna, like, if you smile at me, I'm going to smile at you, you know?
See, like when you're in the supermarket and there's like two people in the way having a conversation, or like, I don't know, you're trying to walk down the street and there's just loads of people in the way and they won't get out of the way. In my head, I'm screaming. I'm like, move! Get out of the way! Oh my God! But I'm just like this. This will be me on the street like, okay. Or the worst thing is when you have to, like, you walk too quickly, but then you're stuck behind them, but you're too socially awkward to walk around them, or you can't walk around them because there's no space to walk around them without getting, like, I don't know, hit by a car.
Oh my God, yes.
Or it's the worst, the absolute worst is when it's like an alleyway or something and there's literally no way to get around them. So you have to be like, oh, excuse me. But then you feel rude. And then sometimes they'll be rude. They'll be like, oh, what's your problem? And it's like, well, I just need to go fast and you're too slow. But you don't say that, but in your head, you're thinking that. And it's like,
my worst ones are the ones you swerve. Like, so say like your normal pavement, right? There's plenty of room for two people to walk down there. But what they do is they sit in the dead center of it with huge bags on, so you can't get around either side.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll move, and every time you think, oh, there's a bit of an opening that side, okay, let's swerve that way.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That drives me nuts. See, this is what it's like to live with anxiety, man. Especially
in London, particularly.
It's the worst. It's paralyzing, and it's so ridiculous because a lot of the time, for instance, you gave that example earlier of like you just grab the thing you need to grab and go, and that's fine, and no one will have an issue with that. But sometimes people do. So, for example, that swerving example that you gave, there's been times when I've tried to get around that person because they just won't move. And you do get around them, but then you hear like a, you know, like, because you're trying to get around them. And it's like, well, what do you expect? You're in the way. Like, you know, and I've been really polite and nice about it. You know, I mean, I'd understand if like you push the person over or something. Fair enough. But like, you're just trying to like be unimposing and just walk around them and they won't move. And then they get annoyed at you.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few occasions where I've had like the tut or the sigh when doing that, and I've just like full pelt in Sonic's voice. It's been like, "You're too slow." I just kept walking. Like, I'm trying to get from A to B. That's literally what I'm here to do. Like, we're cynical old men, man. We are literally, as we both approach 30.
No, I've always been like this.
Yeah, too bad. I think it's just the first time I'm openly talking about it.
I was worse when I was a teenager, but at least these days, like, I'm a bit more like, I'll just let it go. But oh, whatever. Like, it's just my own weird insecurity. But when I was a teenager, I was like truly angry at the world in every single shape and form. And I didn't know that I had social anxiety. I just thought that. Well, I had two things. I either one felt like everyone was my enemy, which is very on brand being a teenager, and being an emo, or it was like kind of, I felt like I was the freak and everyone else is okay, and I just can't function in planet Earth. You know.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from like school cliques, though. I think like once you start associating outside of it,
that's something that annoys me about school. Well, when we were at school, because these days, I kid you not, every kid seems to be like there's blurred lines that you don't really. I mean, apparently there are cliques, I hear, but a lot of the time there aren't cliques. So you can like listen to whatever music, dress whatever way you want, and no one will give you problems. Now, if I'm wrong in that, fine. You know, I'm not a teenager in these days, but I can tell you now, and back me up here, when we were teenagers, oh my God, did we get bullied just for wearing like black sometimes?
Yeah.
Like, not even necessarily wearing band shirts or anything. It's like, oh, you're wearing skinny jeans, you prick. Like, what?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Meanwhile, the cool thing was to wear all black Vans.
Yeah,
as school shoes.
And the most annoying thing as well is like everybody just hypocrites. Like I remember, I won't say his name, but there was a guy in my form who gave me lots of hassle for having emo hair, right? And then I don't know, Franz Ferdinand gets pretty big, you know, whatever, 80s revival in the 2000s, right? Suddenly everyone's got that haircut. And I go up to him and I'm like, I'll tell you his name after, you probably won't remember him, but I was like, oh, okay, so now you've got emo hair and you were giving me problems, you know, crap like a year or two ago. What gives? And he's like, oh, well, it's fashionable now. And I'm just like, you know, and also this guy, I remember he wore Uggs, male Uggs. I didn't even know they made male Uggs. And I remember we all just looked at him like, well, what are you wearing? What?
I mean, to each their own, innit? Like,
to each their own.
If you're going to have your own style,
well, I was nice about
start criticizing others. Like
he literally was brutal with the name calling and being mean and stuff. And then like I chose not to say anything in that scenario. I think my demeanor said it all. I was like, oh, okay.
I think I know who you're talking about as well.
Everyone else mocked him, and I just kind of thought I'm not going to be that guy because you know, two wrongs don't make a right. But this is quite funny.
The funny thing is that kind of resurgence is kind of happening again now.
What
like you are seeing, well, like a lot of people like just now want to pull off their emo selves. They probably gave people shit for it in the past, but now like emo's becoming a bit more trendy again. And you're finding a lot more people are kind of like shifting towards it, which, to be honest, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing.
You mean modern teenagers, or do you mean
adults as well? A bit of everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, because
I think it's good for the genre, but I do find it funny that like much like then, like people who would rip into the emo kids. And now, like, oh, okay, no, I totally want to go to Slam Dunk Festival and see Sum 41 headline and stuff like that. And it's like, okay.
Are there people that we went to school with that, you know, maybe were a bit mean to us who are now suddenly super emos? Can you confirm or deny? Because that's interesting to me.
Not like super emos and not necessarily people like mean to us.
Okay.
But like there are people that were kind of in that scene before.
Yeah. Well, who
now are reappearing in the scene because it's become more of like a
I don't have a
thing
problem with
again.
that. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem with that at all. But I think like you are seeing like swathes of people coming into the scene now who clearly like weren't originally a part of that. A lot of people have come from like the rap scene and stuff like that. And again, there is no issue with that. Like I don't want to gatekeep pop punk. Like let it fly. If you enjoy it, have fun with it. Look at Avril. She's back smashing it again and stuff like that, and people are noticing, and it's awesome. But I think we are seeing one of those kind of trends again where emo's becoming trendy again, and people are starting. I mean, look how quickly MCR sold out Milton Keynes and then had to postpone it for like 3 years. And it was like the second coming of Jesus for emos. Like,
to be fair,
everyone I know was at that gig.
To be fair,
like, it's insane.
I will say this about MCR. I was critical back in the day, but I did secretly, like, the way I felt was I loved their first 2 albums. I did not care as much for the Black Parade as other people did. I thought there was some decent songs on there, but I wasn't really that fussed. But when they released their fourth album, I was so on board with that. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a new thing they're going for. I love this. And then they just quit. And I was so gutted. And that's the thing. They quit on a high, on a huge high. Like, you know, they retired when they were really good. And them coming back after all these years, I think it's much more than like an emo resurgence. I think it's just seeing a genuinely great band. Because I've heard a lot of people say that MCR are really, really good live as well. I used to hear that back in the day. And I think that might be a big part of it too.
I like the first album. Second album I was really into. I really like the Black Parade. Wasn't so much into the fourth album. And then like later on in life, I started to realize that I'm going to insult a lot of people by saying this, but I was basically in a bit of a cult. Being an MCR fan, I was basically in a bit of a cult. And it's like...
Why'd you say that?
There were a lot of issues, I think you'll recall from back in the day.
With
where
MCR?
With people basically self-harming. And then being like, MCR saved my life and using that as a thing. But whereas that was an original thing that was like people that were struggling and were self-harming, then MCR did help them, kind of became a bit of a trend. And I look back at it now and I'm like, I don't know if that necessarily was the healthiest environment for a teenager like myself.
I'm going to say a couple of things
to be around
on this. I think that... First of all, there are a lot of bands around that era that you could say you could attribute to that.
Yeah, that's very true.
Secondly, there was nothing contained within the lyrics of their songs, specifically MCR. I can't speak for other bands, but specifically MCR, there was nothing in there that was even remotely encouraging self-harm or anything like that. I
don't think there was.
Yeah, it was
almost like the fan base was perpetuating it in a weird way.
Yeah, because I remember at the time, there was, right around the time the Black Parade came out, the UK press were on the case of emos and the whole, you know, genre, and they were kind of attacking it and saying, oh, this music causes self-harm. And it was, we all kind of rejected it.
I remember that.
It was ridiculous. It was unfounded. And they put MCR at the heart of that. It was like being the catalyst for that. And it was completely unfounded. There was nothing to suggest that,
No, it wasn't the bands themselves. But I do feel like it was becoming something that was like, almost like it's in reference to someone that I know you were mentioning earlier who we didn't name. But there was certainly this elitist mentality of like, you're not suffering from mental health issues like I'm suffering from mental health issues. You can't be as big an MCR fan as me. And I'm telling you now, and that person that we're not mentioning was not the only person by any means that was on that hype. That seemed to be a decent percentage of that fan base and of the scene. And I think when you're in that environment, that's very dangerous.
I hated that elitism thing because it existed in everything. Like, I remember there were people, because I was a massive heavy metal fan, and there was people telling me like, oh, well, you can't listen to Children of Bodom or Cradle of Filth or whatever because you're not a big enough metal fan. And I'm like, what are you on about? I just listen to what I want to listen to. Like, I remember the same people in other cliques would be like, oh, well, you can't listen to rap. Says who? What are you on about? Yeah. And they'd be stunned
exactly
to like pop them. And it's like, well, I'm a musician, so I like music anyway. And B, I just like good music. So what's the problem?
I've discussed this with my good friend and DJ colleague Dan Kid London. The metal scene is the most gatekeepy scene in the history of music. Nothing changes in the metal scene. You will still have the same 6 bands headlining Download year after year.
I've noticed this. All the bands,
it's ridiculous.
It's like, I mean, it's great for our generation, but for new fans of metal, it's like, surely there's... I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, because I know nothing. I've been unplugged from the metal scene for a long time. Like, I'm still listening to what I listened to like 20 years ago. Occasionally, I might hear something nowadays that's like fairly interesting, but mostly I just listen to the same old bands, right?
Yeah.
But, whenever you see the festival lineups, it's always just like Korn, I don't know, like
Metallica,
yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Those ones you can understand, but like, I
I think
mean,
they've had their day. I think in order for not had their day, but like I think in order for festivals like Download Festival to thrive in the future, they need to look at some other acts. Like Bring Me the Horizon, right? Whether you like them or hate them, have proven they can headline Download. I've seen them play.
Have they not? They've headlined Download surely before.
Not main stage.
Really?
No. And it's like I've seen them pull an incredible crowd at Reading. They just held their own festival in Malta and they smashed it. Like,
that's very interesting, actually, because I mean, I highly admire them. They're a great live band. That's surprising. They've got a huge fan base as well. So if you would put them on main stage, like, I mean, you probably sell out Download just on that alone.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to see them just after we came out of lockdown, after the last lockdown, at the O2. And it was genuinely incredible. The production value was phenomenal. And it's like, and that's another perfect example of the gatekeeping thing. As my friend Dan said last time I spoke to him about it, he was like, you got these guys that are like, oh, you listen to Bring Me. Do you even listen to Pray for Play? It's like, fuck you. Do you even listen to Pray for Play? Because I do even know what it is. Like, why are you gatekeeping this shit? Like, it's pointless. And I feel like the metal scene just does this so much.
I swear they don't even like play that stuff anymore.
They never Pray for Plays anymore. Because it's like, they're not that band anymore.
Yeah, they're a different band, which is
like,
yeah.
Or fuck Sempiternal. I'm like, no, fuck you. Sempiternal's a great album.
I don't understand where that. I guess it must just be like a protected to like wanting to feel that you're part of something, so you gatekeep because you don't want other people to change it in some way. But it's like, it's just, I don't know, man.
I think it comes down to the whole thing of, you bullied me for this, so now you can't think this is cool. I think that's a huge part of it. Like, we in the pop punk scene, or we in the metal scene, were outcast. Well, we weren't normal, and now you all want to get involved. It's like, no, you have to go through what I went through. And it's like, yo, I'm sorry you went through that. It sucks.
Let stuff go, man.
Yeah, like, you can't just hold everyone else. Everyone needs to get bullied like I did. Well, guess what? We're in our late 20s, early 30s. It ain't gonna happen. Get over it. Might as well have someone else that you can have a connection with that you didn't previously over some music, than just be like, no, fuck you, and more animosity. I think
one thing you have to understand as well is that, like, in adult life, like, it's not to say that bullying doesn't happen, because it does, but it gets dealt with in a different way. When you were at school, bullying was almost like, I don't know, it wasn't really dealt with. Schools always failed us when it came to dealing with it. And so we had to put up with a lot of stuff, especially us, both inside and outside of school. We had to put up with it all the time, and it just became part of life. But then as you get older, you become an adult, you realize, like, for the most part, pardon my language, no one gives a shit. Like, you can listen to what you want, you can dress however you want, no one gives a shit. Sometimes you might get a few arsehole comments, but most people don't care. They're just trying to live their life and whatever, you know?
It's like, I get a lot of hate for enjoying the music of Machine Gun Kelly. Okay. I get a lot of hate for enjoying his pop punk music.
But who gives you this hate? Who are these people?
People in the pop punk scene. He's probably the most divisive person in the entire pop punk scene, to be honest with you. Half the scene hate him, half the scene love him.
But who are these? Just random people on the internet just giving you crap?
Quite a few people on my friends list. I remember when I posted that I got my tickets for his Bangwood Records show.
Friends of yours,
show in April. Friends of mine were all like, yeah, nah, this ain't it, all that kind of thing. And I'm just like,
okay,
cool. Like, I love it, and I just have to look at when they're leaving those kind of comments as like, it's just a bit of light ribbing. Like, I can't let myself believe in my head that people are so upset with the fact that I like an artist that they are going to leave these kind of comments. I can't wrap my head around that, because I'm just like,
it sounds like
I know you all. You've got more to do with your lives than this.
It sounds like it's different. Yeah,
it's just jabs, little light ribbing. That's kind of how I have to see it. Because honestly, with how busy I am as a human being and how little of my own time I have, I can't believe that's what people really want to do with theirs. Like I can't believe that people are actually people I know, obviously not complete strangers on the internet, because we know they will go out and do it, but like people I know, I just have to assume they're like, oh, let's have a good laugh at this. They haven't got the time to be being malicious with it. Do you know what I mean?
What I've noticed is like anyone that's just mean to you on the internet, chances are they're hurting. They're going through something in their own life. So they're attacking you to feel better, or they're jealous of you, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, because a lot of the comments I get, either on videos or in live streams, they're just kind of like unfounded and really random. And it's like,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so I got a comment recently on one of my videos, on one of my Sonic 06 playthroughs. I was like, have you tried pressing other buttons? And I'm like, okay, yes, clearly, because different buttons have different functions and I'm not just in the same function. But I just looked at it and I was like, think this was you. Like, I think this was me being very cynical on the internet. And I just laugh along to it. And then at the end of the comment, I just put, I was like, yeah, I should probably try doing that sometime. Oh, also, thank you for watching. Just turn it. That's what I try and do. Like a comment that could come in that's trying to be negative, I'm like, let's try and turn this around. Let's try and make this a bit of a joke at my expense. If you can't laugh at yourself, what can you laugh at? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Run with it a bit. Try and put a bit of a positive spin on it.
I think so.
So, yeah. That is the philosophy.
We've been talking for well over an hour, and I didn't even get to any of the stuff I was going to ask you. So it's been a usual show. For anyone that's listening, I hope you've enjoyed our back and forth. 6 times you've been on the show, man. 6.
Oh, I love it. I love being here. Honestly,
I love it.
It's such an honor to be here. I find it's a very special connection between me and you, purely on the fact that we were the emo kids in school. We were those. Yeah, we've known each other this long, and our lives deviated on different paths. And yet, many years later, we found each other again through content creation. I just think it's so wonderful. I love coming here to chat with you. I kind of view what you do as like one of the foundations of my YouTube journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how like when you see the Sidemen and you're like, and they're all like best bros in their videos. Like this is the foundation of our careers as content creators. And then, you know, one day when we both have like 2 million subs, so like, oh, do you remember him from back in the day? Yeah, he's doing loads of videos. Yeah, just pop in, and
you know, I think the weird part about it for me is that like I see the man you've become, and I really respect you, and I'm very proud of you. And then but like, there's a part of me that I always just look at you, and I just see that kid that I used to like chat with, and we'd mock each other, and like I just remember, I've said this in previous shows, but like just I was bunking off lessons in the infirmary, and you're there because you genuinely needed to be there, and you were always just nice, and you totally knew what was up, but you wouldn't say anything, and and we just have fun, and I remember stuff like that, and I always see you as that boy, and yeah, but we're men now and we're older. It's weird. Life.
That's it. It's like I've grown up significantly since those days. But my friend Phil actually said this, and at first I didn't really know what to make of it, but now I kind of like it. And he was like, "You have this like childish naivety when it comes to Sonic. Like you have this like child sense of wonder about it, where you do believe like the things that it's trying to tell people, like." With your friends, you can do anything and you never give up and all this kind of stuff. Like these lessons that we teach to kids, you still very much hold those values at heart. And I was like, it's kind of true. I've become a cynical, grumpy old man, but at the same time, I still kind of believe in that stuff and believe in trying to make people's days a bit brighter and that kind of thing. So there's still elements of teenage me there, I think, in a lot of ways.
You need that. You need people like that in life, and I think that's something that needs to be savored and cherished, because we need to keep that childhood innocence, that sense of wonder and happiness.
Yeah,
something that needs to
I completely agree. 100%. But yeah, no, I'm so proud of you and what you're doing and where you've got to, man. Like, I just want to say this to anyone watching, right? Like, You do not understand the work that goes into this episode. Now, for me, I have just sat in my studio for an hour and 35 now, chatting to this good man. But like, you don't understand the level of editing and production that goes into making this podcast happen. And it's like, I was doing a video recently, and I equated it to like 1 minute of a video for me, in the kind of videos I make, is 2 hours of editing. 2 hours.
Wow.
Please understand, when you watch this stuff that we produce, that it takes a hell of a long time. And because of that, and the effort that goes into it, you should really go and give this man some love by hitting that subscribe button, smashing the bell with the notifications on so you never miss out on any of the latest Christian Reeve Podcast content. And of course, slap a like on this, help other people see it, really helps the engagement. Leave that comment down below. He needs that love. I'll be leaving a comment down there, it'll be full of hearts. You can heart that. It'll be all, we'll go off on a comment round. It'll be fantastic. So yeah, give this guy some love. Go over there and do your thing.
Oh, you sweetheart.
It's like a script. It's just a script in my head now.
It is. I was going to say, do you practice that in the mirror?
You know what? I think I probably practiced it a few times at the start of this career, and now I don't need to. I just do it at the pub sometimes. Someone be like, have you got a Rizzler? Like, yeah, sure. But before I give you that, can I just ask you to subscribe to the Planet Edge YouTube channel? I can just do stuff like that now. And it's really worrying. I've become the thing I hated when I first started watching YouTube. Oh my God, I'm Jake Paul. I wish I was Jake Paul.
No, you don't. No
one. I don't know. I don't know. He's got the money, he's got the success, and he keeps beating every single person he goes into a boxing ring with. So, you know, like, I'll take some of what he's got. He's got a couple of bill in the bank, surely. I don't even want $1 billion, just 1 mil. Just 1 mil. Actually, no, 2 mil. 2 mil. I just want 2 mil. And then 1 mil for the house, and then the second mil for just like investments and portfolio. Yeah, I'll be happy.
I want to throw some random questions at you that I had intended to. This is what I actually intended for the show to be, was all these questions I have here. But
okay,
we didn't even go for that. But I love that.
Okay,
because that puts
just
on me.
Flowing from there. Just save some for next time.
For sure. But I want to ask you a few now, because I'm just intrigued, and I feel like you might give some good answers. What's one thing in life that never fails to make you happy?
Music. Doesn't matter what scenario I'm in, whether I'm happy, sad, relaxed, there is a song for that. Like, for instance, when I go to Amsterdam on Tuesday, I have had a lo-fi playlist that I have been building since COVID, specifically to be listened to in Amsterdam, to walk around the streets of Amsterdam at night and listen to, because it's such a beautiful city. And it's so, like, the tunes I picked reminded me of being there. So I can't wait. And things like that, I'm really looking forward to that experience. And like, when I'm doing my DJing, like, that would be another one in itself. Obviously, it's kind of intrinsically linked to music. Like, doing my DJing, it's just, let's go, okay, I'm thinking this in my head. Yeah, that could work. Drop it. Oh, okay, everyone's going off. Like, I dropped Pendulum at the last Face Down. It's a pop punk night, and I was like, okay, I'm going to end my last set with Propane Nightmares and just see how that goes off. It absolutely went off, and I was just like, I love being able to do this. This is so, because you wouldn't go there expecting to hear that, would you really? Like, you expect to hear all the small things or whatever, but not necessarily that. And I'm like, okay, no, I'll drop the Kid Laroi in there. Like, go on, let's have some fun. Like, it's just, yeah, I think music, it's just, it never fails to make me happy. Always a good one. And failing that, opening a pack of Pokemon cards.
Hey.
Actually, no, because if you don't get a holo in it, then you do get upset. So actually, I retract that.
Okay, similar question. What in life never fails to move you?
Do we mean move physically or move in an emotional sense?
Emotionally.
Because work would be the big one there, because I have to physically get there. Emotionally.
I knew someone would ask me that if I asked that question.
It's got to be done. Can I give? I feel like I'd give the same answer.
Okay, yeah.
Like, again, there's always something for every scenario. And I'll tell a cute little anecdote story. So not last year, the Sonic 30th anniversary concert experience has happened. It was my favorite thing I've ever seen on the internet. It was my favorite live stream I've ever done. My entire chat was typing out the lyrics to these songs in full caps like we were at a concert together. I'm just singing along to it. It was amazing. It was like my first online concert kind of thing, and it was the best thing ever. And I specifically timed it on my first day starting at Sega that I would listen to a certain song from that thing that means a hell of a lot to me called Endless Possibilities, which is literally about like there being endless possibilities to life. You just got to go out and take it kind of thing. And I remember walking up the Great West Road as the chorus is coming in and I just see the Sega building in the distance. And it just, I shed a tear. I was legit like, you did it. You literally made it to where you've always wanted to be. And again, it was the perfect combination of reaching that overview where you could see it and the music, the chorus coming in at that perfect moment. And it moved me differently in a way that I can't really explain. So again, I would have to say music. I'm sorry to your viewers because I'm just giving the same answer, but I just feel that with music, there is so much with that. You can, any scenario, you can use music, and that there is a song for that scenario to hype you up, bring you down, whatever you want from that moment. There is a song to get you there, and I feel so. Yeah, I would say music moves me more than anything.
What do you value most in life, and why?
I would say the people around me, because I know that's probably quite a generic one.
No. I was laughing because I thought we were going to go with a hat trick for music.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I love your answer. Please continue.
I would definitely say the people around me because like we've spoken quite a bit on this podcast about like how we were picked on at school and how difficult things were for us, and now like because of that, my feeling of self-worth is very poor. I don't consider myself in the best light in a lot of ways.
Really?
To this day, I'm still very down on myself about a lot of things.
Oh, you shouldn't be, man. You're a fan. I
know. I really am working on it, and I'm trying. But I feel that like the people I have around me now. First off, like I'll just say quickly as like an anecdotal piece as well, like the people that I now chill with at Facedown and Voodoo, the people that I consider my family there, the people I looked up to for a long time, a lot of them are like older than me. They're like mid-30s, where I'm just about to enter my 30s, ranging in between. And they're people I've looked up to since I was 18 when I first started going to these clubs. And now they're like absolute family to me, who under no circumstances will let me feel bad about myself. Like, I don't like call out names because I will be here all fucking day. But like, I'll call out Sam in particular, not because Sam does more than anything else, but like, it's just a good example of things. So like, there was a FaceTime a couple of months ago where we had a lot of guest DJs. We had some really cool guests coming in to do this. And I was like, just wanted to check with you if I am DJing. I know the backstage room has been a bit quiet, so like, do you not want me to be in that one? Because I was generally doing the opening set. So like, I was just like, obviously big names coming in. Do you want to save the space and that kind of thing? And he's like, I'm not having this. Like, stop being down on me. I'm not having this. You, of course you're there. And I'm like, I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's not necessarily because I was being so down on myself in that instance. It was more like, well, we've got quite a stacked bill this evening. Like, are you sure you want little me to do something? But it's like, I'm surrounded by people like that now who just refuse to let me fall in that regard. Jess, my girlfriend's amazing in that regard as well. Like, it's just like, you're not allowed to feel shit about yourself anymore. You have to be positive. You have to kind of bring something to everyone else, like bring that Hatcher that we love to everyone else. So I would absolutely say it's the people around me. But a caveat to that, like, again, a little anecdote story I'd want to tell is the other week at work I received a letter from a child named Jack, who had written out about how much he loves Sonic, and he had drawn a picture of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles fighting Eggman. And it was legitimately like, I cried reading it, because I was like, this was me. Like this kid literally could have been me. And I'm currently working on something. Again, I was saying earlier about how Sega are not stay in your lane. I'm currently working with someone to have some sort of like cards with stickers and stuff like that with a response from Sonic that we can send out to all of these kids who write in, because we get a lot of these letters. And being able to do things like that, like to give this kid like some of the hope and passion I had for Sonic at that age, is like one of the most rewarding things I think I've ever felt. And it's interesting because I was having this conversation with Jess recently where she was like your happiness needs to matter. And I was like, at the end of the day, whilst I agree with you, Sonic matters more, because Sonic means so much to so many people out there that I need to do everything within my power to do everything I can for this franchise so that it can be the best it ever can be, so that all those kids out there who are mini me's at that age have something to believe in and something to hold on to and something to teach them right from wrong and teach them the values that, you know, you protect your friends and you know, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And it's things like that. So it's the people in my life, and I'd say the pace I am at in life, that I get to influence in this way. And I get to hopefully positively affect the lives of a lot of people just by caring about the franchise and trying to do everything I can for it. So yeah, sorry, it's very long-winded answer. But yeah, the people I am and where I am in life are just things I value so much that I couldn't bear to think of losing for the world. Like, oh no, not living in that reality.
Thank you very much for sharing.
I shall always share.
As we draw things to a close for today, do you have any upcoming projects or some final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
So obviously, Hatcher Voices 06, it's coming. It's going to be a big deal. You're going to hear me voice Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Tails, Knuckles. God knows who else is in this game. I can't remember now. Eggman. There's a lot of people in this game. Mephiles the Dark, everyone's favorite villain. You're going to, you know, if you played Sonic 06, you're going to love it. If you haven't played Sonic 06 because you know it's one regarded as one of the worst games of all time, you're going to get to know the story through watching my videos. Seriously. Watch the top worst games of all time from any YouTuber, and Sonic 06 will be on that list. It always is. But yeah, look forward to that. I will have a few more bits coming up that will be revolving around Sonic Frontiers on its release. Sonic Prime will be coming this year, so I will be doing some stuff on that. The TV show is shaping up to be something really cool. And of course, there are some other projects in the works that I can't quite speak of yet that do not involve Sonic. So get involved for that. If you could subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. We're so close to 2,000 subs. I think we're like 105 subs away from the big 2,000. And I have a brand new Sonic the Hedgehog statue that I've spent about $500 on the way that will be unboxed when we hit that 2,000. So if you want to see me blow money that I shouldn't have blown, subscribe to the channel and you're going to get to see that really soon.
Woo! Well, as a pleasure, I'm lost for words. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Jack. Thank you so much for spending the time here with us today, and yeah, wishing you all the best as always.
Thank you, man. You too. Give this man some love. He's an amazing creator, and yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be back on. I love coming here every single time, and Hatcher will return very soon.
There you go. Thank you very much for listening and watching the Christian Reeve podcast. And as always, be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one.